Yo, JD here, Terrell Lewis, and as you can see, we're at AOR Silverstone here today. And as you can also see, it is wet, full wet for this qualifying session. And luckily this time, while I learnt my lesson from Austria, that I did prepare for the wet for this race. And this track as well, one I really do enjoy, but surprisingly not actually really one of my fastest on raw pace. In qualifying it's very good, but in the race I really struggle with running a high ballast setup. So I'm running 7 ballast, as you can see there, which is very stable through the corners, because I honestly do think this track, people might not agree, but I feel in terms of the pad and wheel, I think the wheel probably has one of the biggest advantages around this track, and that is all in Sector 2. It's completely in Sector 2. The Sector 1 here and Sector 3, I feel there's no difference at all. But through Maggots and Beckett's, it's the quick direction change and the ability for the wheel to run a really high ballast. And because I know some people like to find Finn, I know he was running 10 ballast this race. And if you're running the same wings I was running here, it's not possible to run 10 ballast on the controller. And you're probably wondering why I'm on the controller. The wheel was going really well, and it still is going very well. I just feel I'm more consistent still at this stage, and with the championship still in sight and still opportunity, and it being wet is here as well, I felt that it was a no-brainer to go to the controller. But I'm very confident that I will move over to the wheel before the end of the season for sure. But moving on to this now. Wet conditions, as I know from previous races, I really do enjoy these, and this lap is going pretty well. You can see we're 2 temps up in the middle sector here. Surprise Mode's actually put it on provisional pole for 41.0, so 2 temps up, and I felt I had a lot more time to gain in this last sector. Braking a little bit early there, but still a very nice last sector, going very well, keeping it on limits of the track, just about through there, coming across the line. And we hardly improve. We only just go a couple of hundredths faster when we're 2 temps up. And I was expecting that to be a 40.8, 40.9. So I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't get pole, but still qualifying in P3 ahead of my main rival, the Flying Finn, who's down in in 6th place at this point. So we've got to make the most of this opportunity now to see what we could do. As you can see, we lost 2 temps in that last sector, so I was a little bit puzzled by that. But coming onto the race now, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go now, getting a pretty good start on fresh tyres, so it should be a relatively comfortable one stop, but this just definitely helps even more, leaving room for Matiz on the inside, hugging the left, but I think he's actually bounced off my cars. We're thinking about going down for a move on NOR Evo, but just keeping it cautious, just trying not to get any damage at this point as well. I surprised my congratulations to him. I think that's his first pole position ever in an AOR, so well done to him. But Jason are inside, leaving him room, which actually gives us a warning. So being a little bit too nice to each other there, just didn't know how close he was going to be. But we've got to try and outbrake him around the outside, because it's very important to not get sucked back into the midfield and just to keep with this lead train as much as possible. We just about keep ahead of Jason, but Flying Finn has moved up with position to 5th place as well. So I want to keep a car between me and him, because I really just need to gain some points in them now, especially around here when honestly I wasn't expecting to do that well. I expected Matiz and Flying Finn to really be dominant around here, so to be ahead of them at this stage is really good, because they get a little bit of understeer here, but still getting a relatively good exit off this corner into Sector 3. And now we've got a car between myself and Jason. But moving on to, we'll start at lap 2. Now we've got the Flying Finn going down the inside of Jason now. Lost a little bit of touch of the leaders at this point, because you can see it just, for some reason, it just felt really understeer at this stage. It just didn't feel proper planted as I would like. But you can see now Evo's now starting to attack Surprise Mercer, which is definitely going to help us stay within distance, as Evo, I think he's just completely lost it, and he's luckily didn't spin into the wall on the grass or anything at all. So that's us into P2, and now we're behind Surprise Mer, who's also on the controller as well. So a very good job for him, and he's driving super solidly. But I saw this as an opportunity now, because I don't think he's actually led a race before. Probably some nerves are going to start kicking in, so if we can get within his DRS, I saw this as an opportunity to really try and take advantage of just him making a mistake, just being underneath that kind of pressure. But now we've got the Flying Finn, our championship rival, right behind us now, and it's crucial that we stay ahead of him. It's an absolute must. So I wasn't really interested in taking the win at this point. I would have quite happily started battling with Finn and let surprise go, as Finn's starting to go down the inside, but we leave him just enough room, keep it just on track as well. So now he's been very well, trying to be quite aggressive, but we're just trying to keep our line, focus on the car ahead, and try not to let him get out of the way, because obviously I'd love to win this race, but the main thing is thinking of the championship and just to try and get as many points as possible. If we can gain some points, that'd be great. As we managed to get back in DRS of Surprise Man as well, which is only going to help us, but Finn doesn't look like he's going to be close enough in this occasion. So going up towards the top of the hanger straight, going through here now, the car seems to be settling down a little bit at this point, but Finn's getting a very good exit coming off here, and I think he's going to try and go for a move down the inside, but he does a 50-50, so we're just going to turn in, and luckily there's going to be no contact or anything as well. But I just couldn't really get close to Surprise. I was driving very well. I thought I was driving incredibly well, but I don't know if my setup was a bit too stiff for this, because I could have ran 8 ballast, which I did in practice a few times. It felt great, but towards the end of the stint, when the tyres go off, it started to become very twitchy through the Magnussen Beckett section. So I decided to just go stability for this, which most likely sacrifice maybe a 10th or 2 tenths per lap of the raw potential I could do, but I just felt I was more consistent with this. As now me and Finn are starting to battle a little bit, as you can see, having to defend now at this point, just a little half defending now here and there, because I know he likes to go for quite late moves, to just try and cover him off, but still trying to get good exit. But we've got so much understeer going through here, so we get a really poor exit of this, and now this is going to be the closest it's ever going to be going down Cannon Straight. He's round our outside at this point, so braking very late at this point, so trying to leave him room on the outside as well, as he actually goes off the track. And look at behind us, he's actually made major collision, and I don't know what happened to him there, but after this race he went out wide on the curb. There was actually no contact between our cars, and he spun off and he's actually damaged his wing, and he's had to go in the pits this lap as well. So at that point I was actually feeling pretty bad, because I didn't know if it was my fault or not. I didn't wait, because in my mind I thought that was a 50-50. I didn't feel any contact or anything at all. Otherwise, if I thought it was my fault 100%, I would have definitely waited. There's no question I would have waited, no question at all. But coming towards the end of lap 9, we've got to focus on our race now, because we've got Evo ahead of us, and now we're going to go in the pits, trying to undercut Surprise Man as he continues, and we're going to the line, and we've actually man, that was just so frustrating. We speed in the pit lane, and I knew where to brake. I broke at the 100-meter board just a little bit afterwards, but we just go too fast in the pit lane, and that was just a really sloppy mistake, and that could be very costly actually, in terms of trying to maximise Surprise Mode for the win. We're going to have a big undercut through this, but it's going to be, you've got to drive the best you've ever done now in order to win this race. And I was kicking myself at this. It was just so annoying. But we haven't actually served the stop-go penalty as well, which is, I think, is actually worse, because now it's going to add 10 seconds onto our race time. Rather than losing 5 seconds in the pits, there's a glitch in the game where it just, if it doesn't do it, then it just adds 10 seconds on. So now we've actually pretty much got a double penalty through our own error. So now we've got a 10-second penalty pretty much for the end of the race. So now we've got to push, and on or out that we were pushing very hard, feeling much more comfortable in these tyres now. So going across the line, and let's see what the undercut's going to be. I wasn't really sure how big it really would be. You can see now, Surprise has only just come out of the pits, and that is a huge undercut. I'd say he's almost 2 seconds ahead of us, and now we're about 2 or so seconds ahead of him, I think, as we go through the first sector split. And these tyres can definitely go to the end. Some people go on mediums, but softs can definitely go to the end. And look at the gap. That is a big gap. And we're going to go through the first sector split now. We are in the net race lead at this point, and we didn't see it then, but I think it was 2.5 seconds as we set the fastest lap of the race. So the pace is very good. That's pretty good time at this point. And you can see the gap is like 2.5 seconds now. and we just gotta go as fast as possible. But going from Maggotts and Beckett's, maintaining the gap at this point pretty well. But as we actually hit a bump, and that gives us a corner cut warning as well. I don't know what happened there. I think that was like an invisible curb or something. I was checking my car to see if we had any damage, because I honestly thought my front wing fell off or something then, and that's cost us 4 attempts that lap as well, which is just not what we need. We just need any bit of time possible. But now we're moving on to the end of lap 22, because basically the story was having a lap fresher tyres is definitely an advantage around here, and we were being caught a couple attempts or so each lap. And as I said, I think we were definitely running just a very safe setup, very consistent, but we were just being gradually plugged away. And now, surprise, it's in our DRS, but he's managed to bring Evo along with him, who's got the same freshness as tyres as us as well. And the guys in 4th, I think that's Matiz coming up as well in 4th place. So we've got a decent gap to 5th, which is, I think that's the Flying Finn in 5th, so we've got a big gap to him. So I was hoping that we could just at least, just do something, but we don't know who's got penalties behind us. It's always quite common that pretty much most people do get a penalty in most races because of just how much you're pushing the limits and stuff as well. It's very easy to get a 10-second penalty around this track. I think if you run wide in the last corner, it automatically gives you a 10-second penalty. So we haven't checked the penalties, and I didn't do that. Well, I did that deliberately because I just wanted to focus on my driving, and I wanted to cross the line first. To cross the line first would be amazing. So we're not going to give this up. We're going to fight it to the end, and it's very hard to overtake, as we do know in this game. Slipstream is pretty limited, and you can see I think the Surprise has actually made a little bit of a mistake there. Now he's coming under pressure from NOR Evo, and that is our opportunity to break away at this point now. As you can see, we see if we can possibly get out of DRS, and I think we're going to put it up into Rich coming off this last corner, because I saw 2 arrows go down the inside as well. So they're starting to battle, and this is only going to help us, and we're going to stay on board for the end of this race now. As we're going through turn 1, completely flat out through here, pretty easy flat out, and you can see we've got a big gap now, so over a second I'd say we'll be able to see it the first sector split. 4th gear through here definitely seems to work much better. 3rd gear, being very cautious on the power. I think our tyre wear's not too bad. I think it's like mid-60s or something at this point, so it's really not too bad around here, but we see we've got a decent buffer. I mean, now we've got Matiz in P3, who I know on the wheel, especially the wheel, I feel is very good around here, but I'd say he's probably the best driver on pace around here. He was doing that 26.6s in qualifying, which on the Xbox platform is pretty ridiculous. So I know if he gets past Surprise, I know it's going to be a very difficult challenge. But now we've only got 2 laps left now, 2.5 laps left to just do everything he can to go complete flat out through here. And we're pushing it as hard as we can. You can see coming off here now, almost clipping the grass. We're leaving nothing on the table. And apart from that error in the pit stop, I drove the fastest I could with the car I had. I wasn't disappointed of how I drove. I didn't make any mistakes really at all. And we're just going to push it and just not give up to the end. So coming now, finishing, or starting the penultimate lap of this race at lap 25 at 26, coming across the line now. I think the gap's just over a second now, so it's crucial we keep him out of this DRS zone, as Surprise has got 1 lap fresher tyres than us, but I think Matiz has about 2 lap fresher tyres. I think he pitted on the end of lap 11 or something like that, so he's going to fresher tyres, and I know the raw pace that he has is going to be very, very difficult. But we can see now, I was really hoping that Surprise will keep him behind, so I was constantly watching that top left-hand side of the screen. Hopefully there's no position changes. Matiz has actually gone into P2 now, so he's used the DRS, got into P2, and now we just got to use the fuel we have and make it difficult for him if he does catch us. But you can see there's a decent buffer, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. Coming through here, having to do a little lift, which I was very surprised at, because in practice I didn't really have to do that. So people talk about this understeer glitch. I've never experienced it myself, but for some reason, I don't know why, but the car just didn't, it felt like I had to understeer this race, but I didn't really have that in my mind at the time. It was just really after looking at this footage. But you can see Matthias is caught us already through that middle sector. He's catching us very, very quickly, and you can just see the dot on the minimap. It's just the gap is just shrinking all the time. And at this point, I was feeling quite calm, quite collected, because I knew even if he gets onto the back of me, it's going to be very difficult for him to actually overtake me. I don't think he's going to be close enough for this first sector. So coming through here, a flat out section. There's only real one braking zone, which is this corner here. Coming through here now, we should manage to do third gear, just applying. We can see how much those arrows is catching us. He's catching us so much throughout the corner. But let's try and get a good exit, trying to get a really good launch as we do, using Rich, but going back down to standard straight away because I wanted to save the fuel for that very last straight, which is going to be really the main overtaking spot he has. So my plan now was to just really try and hold him up in Maggots and Beckett's and then just get a really good launch off that corner, because that is going to be the real opportunity that he has. So coming into Old Turn 1, we've got a gap to P3 now as well. It looks like a surprise is battling Evo, or his tyres starting to go off a bit, but we're going just about almost flat out through here. So now in my mind it was just all or nothing. You just got to put everything on the table and just hope it sticks. So going through here, absolute maximum commitment. Just couldn't do anything more. Clipping the grass and the exit as well. Rich mix, he's got DRS, but it doesn't look close enough at this point. Looks like, yep, I don't think he's going to have any opportunities. Going through here now, gone a little bit wide as we actually get hit from behind, just ever so slightly, and it looks like he's almost side by side of us. So going in to this penultimate corner now, looks like you can see his arrow just goes white, and then we've actually been hit, spun round as well, and I think we've actually been collected by surprise, and God knows how we had no damage, or sorry, our wheel didn't actually fall off. And yeah, that's league racing for you. That's what can happen in a split of a second. But we're going to see from Matthias's footage here. I have so much respect for Matthias, and he's a very good friend of mine. So that's why I wasn't angry after this race until I saw his point of view. So you'll be able to see. He goes around the outside, he doesn't really go for the move, and I think that's just a case of desyncing, because if you saw from my own footage, which we'll be able to see again here, the arrow went white, which subconsciously at the time, I thought he wasn't going to go for it, but I think it's just a case of desyncing, and to be honest, I think it's a racing incident, last lap, no one's going to budge, and to be honest, I think it's a racing incident, but obviously people got different opinions there, but very unfortunate. But we did have a penalty anyway, so I knew pretty much that we weren't going to win this race unless we won by 10 seconds, but that's league racing for you, and that's that kind of stuff just happens. So the race was super intense, we had to drive mega consistent, but we ended up finishing 7th that race with that 10-second penalty, or it says 13 seconds for some reason on there. But we had that penalty which doubled up, which is really, really annoying. I don't think we can change it because it didn't give us that 5-stop go in the pits, so I don't think we can change it. But that's AOR Silverstone. That's the result of the race. Thank you for the support. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure there'll be lots of comments down below of what actually happened, but that is league racing in a nutshell. I don't think it was anyone's fault, but an intense race, and moving on to Hungary next. So thank you so much for the support, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.